This video is a first step if you want Canvas grades to be sent up to PowerTeacher Pro. Now, that sync does not work well for if you are using standards-based grading in PowerTeacher Pro, so you probably want to avoid the grade sync if that is what you're doing. But it can be a very useful feature. It can save a lot of time, and it can be very efficient and improve your accuracy if you want to sync grades from Canvas to PowerTeacher Pro. The first step, as shown in this video, is just setting up your grading categories in PowerTeacher Pro, which many of you have done several times already because you've been using PowerTeacher Pro. So if you know how to do that, you can avoid watching this video and jump to the next video that deals with setting things up in Canvas. But I'm going to move forward. I'm at the PowerSchool webpage, and I'm going to go down to PowerTeacher Pro. Brings me into PowerTeacher Pro. Now I'm going to go to the class that I want to set up the grading categories for. So I click on this arrow. Now you might have more than one semester showing. So that's all modified by clicking on this triangle here. And you might have all of the semester classes showing, so that might be a little overwhelming. So you can click on this and then find the correct school year and the correct semester to work with. So I'm going to select this one right here. And then I'm going to select a particular class that I'm going to work with because I want to do this one at a time. All right, now this first example shows a way to just copy over from a previous semester. If you're using the same grading categories, you can just copy over from the last time you taught the class. So I'm going to show you that first. If that doesn't work for you, just hang on through this first part of the example, and then I'll show you how to do it the other way. So if you want to copy over, you go to Settings, then go to Traditional Grade Calculations. Okay, if you're doing standards-based grading, that is done differently. Come over here to you can see that this one is showing the class I'm working with. Come over here to the Settings button, the gear button. You click on that, and then you can select Copy Traditional Grade Calculations. When you get to this dialog box, select to another class. So the way this works is the first section here is your from class. So where are you grabbing the categories from? Well, if it's from within the same school year, I'm going to click on this drop-down arrow. I'm going to go to the school year and go to the semester. And then I'm going to click on this drop-down arrow and select the actual class I want to copy the grading categories from. Next up, the to class. Well, that's the class that I'm currently working on that I want to copy the grading categories into. So in this example, this will be this school year and my semester 2. And then I will select the particular class I want to copy the grading categories to. I'm going to click off of that once I have it selected. Just make sure that's in there. Okay. And then once that's ready, I'm going to click Validate. I'm not using standards weights, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to click the Copy button. So now, if you notice, this says reporting term S2, and there's just one reporting term for the second semester of the 2021 school year because we're in the pandemic and we're not having finals. So category weighting, if I want to check this out, I click on this button right here. And it did bring over from my previous class. I have formative, I have summative category, and I have the weights in there. So I will click Save, or since I didn't modify anything, I can close out that window. And then this class is set up in terms of category weights. So if you are not able to copy over from a previous class, you want to continue watching because that's what I'm going to show you what to do. Otherwise, you can repeat this for your other classes if you're just copying over, but other than that, you should be good. But stay on if you want to do it the other way, which is setting them up one by one. So I'm going to click the revert to default since this was used as an example, and I'm going to click yes here. So your first thing you want to do is, you can start trying to set up your category weights by clicking this edit button, but you want to make sure your categories are associated with the particular class. So to check that or to set that up, go up here to grading, go to categories, and this is a list of all your categories in PowerTeacher Pro. Well, which ones do you want to use for your class that you're working on right now? Well, I want to use formative and summative assessments. So you can look here to see if those courses are listed in there. You can click on the More button. I just tend to like to come over here to the Edit button and to check because I find it easier that way. So if I click here on this Edit button, categories, formative assessments, it's active. What classes does this apply to? If I click here, oh yes, so this is the class that I want it to apply to. So check the classes that you want this category to apply to, whichever ones you need to check. When you have that done, go ahead and click Save, and then move to your next category, summative assessments. I'm going to come over here, click this Edit button, and I'm going to check the classes to make sure that this category has check marks next to each class that I wanted to apply to. Pause the video at any time if you get behind. And then when you're done with that, click the Save button. So that was establishing your particular categories for each class, but now you have to set up the weights. So I'm going to go over to Settings. I'm going to go down to Traditional Grade Calculations. Make sure you're in your class you want to work with. Come over here and click the Edit button. And then, since I'm setting up category weights and not using total points, I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow and go to Category Weighting. Find the category you want to apply. Formative assessments in my case. Put in the weight. Click the Add button. Come down here to your next category. Select Category Weighting. Select the particular category. Type in the weight. Click off of it, and you can see and double check to make sure that everything is set up correctly. And then click the Save button. And now your category weight should be established for that particular class. So of course you have to repeat this process for your other classes. And again, this is the first step in making Canvas talk to PowerSchool in terms of setting grades up to PowerTeacher Pro. Let us know if you have questions.